Okay. So I'm recording. All right. Finally doing this after years of putting it off. I've written like so many scripts for videos about Batman or just like DC Comics in general, but it never got past like the actual script stage, and so I just wanted to like freestyle this and just make it from the heart. I humbly and truly believe that DC Comics peaked in the mid 2000s and it will never be like how it once was. It sounds crazy to say, like I'm like, the entirety of DC Comics, comics, movies, TV shows, animated shows, everything. I believe it peaked back then, and that sounds crazy to say because you're gonna be like, "Yo, Superman movie's coming out in July. The Batman Part Two just got delayed to 2027. We got a whole another Batman movie coming out too. We got all this new content. The comics are good, right? Sure, we got the Absolute Universe out there. Yeah, those are all good. Like I've been reading and loving Absolute Superman and Batman. I'm excited for the Batman Part 2. Waiting for that for literal years. And they're good projects. It's good right now, but like it was so much better back then. I'll like I'll try to visualize it for you. Let's say I can't relate to this, but let's say you can. Let's say you're 13 years old. It's a bright sunny day, bright spring sunny day. Birds chirping, sun blasting in your window, and you're woken up by the sun just like blasting on your face. You wake up, yawn a little bit, and you go on your computer and you check like whatever like form you use, and you're like, oh shit, there's a new issue of Green Lantern by Jeff Johns coming out tomorrow. You know, it's currently Blackest Night right now, so you just got done with That's Not Your Core War, and it's Blackest Night. Like all these zombified heroes are coming back to life. It's crazy. Like it's amazing. And then over on Superman, you got New Krypton. Like the Kandorians have been released from their little glass city, bottled city, and now they've developed a whole new planet, like on the opposite Earth, called New Krypton, right? And it's like Superman, like, what are you gonna do? Are you with Earth or are you with Krypton? And so he decides to stop being Superman, gives the mantle over to Mon-El, and now he's just a regular New Kryptonian in the military, and Zod's there too. So it's like, what's going on with that? Like, and don't even get me started on what Batman got going on. The resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Bro, that shit was peak. Like, Batman has a biological son. He has a son that was hidden from him. Also, Jason Todd, he's back. He came back a few years ago, but he's back, and now he's the Red Hood, and he's just in like New York fucking shit up with Nightwing. Like, what's going on with Batman? Not even that, actually. Batman's dead. Around this time, he was dead. He died, and now Dick Grayson's Batman, and he just fought Jason Todd, and now Jason Todd's locked up. He's in Arkham. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? But all this is happening, right? It's the prime of DC. Heroes are dying. Heroes are coming back. People are taking over mantles. Nightwing is now Batman. Roy Harper is the Green Arrow of the Justice League. What else? Like Jason Todd's back. Tim Drake. Tim Drake is Red Robin. Tim Drake has his own solo run. That's actually good. So how crazy is that? Like, if you told somebody that right now, that'd be crazy. Tim Drake has a solo run that's actually good, and that wouldn't have been canceled. I think that's the main thing I loved about DC Comics in the mid 2000s is not even like getting me started on like the runs and just like how many quality writers are on books like Jeff Johns on Green Lantern, which I believe it's the best DC Comics run ever. It's not my personal favorite. I prefer Green Lantern New Guardians, but that's just like because I'm biased to Kyle Rayner. But it is, in my opinion, the best run ever of like any character. It literally revitalized the Green Lantern character, and it got him up there with Batman. You got Jeff Johns on Superman, Secret Origin, New Krypton. You have the whole Batman side. You know, he's fucking shit up over there. Really, there were like really good writers on these books. Even like in the early mid 2000s, you had Under the Red Hood. You had Infinite Crisis, which is just a love letter to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's a beautiful it's a beautiful event, and you really have to like read. You have to have been a DC Comics fan to get it, because like it Identity Crisis sets up Infinite Crisis, but also Identity Crisis sets up OMAC, which sets up Wonder Woman killing Maxwell Lord, which sets up Alexander Luthor escaping, which sets up Infinite Crisis, but also the Ren Thanagar War. So it's like all these like little pieces over the years that just collide, like it's like dominoes colliding to this one big event that if you've been reading and you've been a hardcore fan for these past few years, you would just love it. It's amazing. Beautiful sequels in it. But like yeah, that was up there. What else we had? What else? Bruce Wayne murder, Bruce Wayne fugitive. Like Batman is framed for murder and he has to Bruce Wayne is framed for murder and he has to just forget the Bruce Wayne identity, and it's really a story about how it just defeats the main misconception of Batman being the true person. It's like Bruce Wayne is not a mask, he is both Bruce Wayne and Batman. He's not schizophrenic or crazy. But I'm getting off topic. What I really loved about DC Comics back then was characters were allowed to grow and age. You saw, this is like post crisis by the way. You saw Superman adopting a son, Zod's son. You saw Batman growing old. He was in his mid 30s. He went through four Robins. You saw Nightwing go from like Robin to Nightwing. Jason Todd dying, coming back to life and becoming the Red Hood. You saw Timmy Drake moving on to become Red Robin. You saw Batman having a son. You saw that son being Robin. You saw Batman dying, Dick Grayson taking over the mantle and becoming Batman himself. Like characters die, they might come back because it's comics. They're gonna come back, but like these older characters took over the mantles. It was a sense of legacy, like Roy Harper. Like you've been reading these characters for years now, and you've seen them grow. You've seen them age. You've seen them get married. You've seen them like Wally West. Like Barry Allen died in the '80s, and Wally West took over as the Flash. He was the Flash for 30 years. He had a wife. He had he had a family, and you just saw that, and you were like you've been reading for so long, and you've seen this like progression going on. It was just beautiful. It was a sense of like continuity, legacy. Like there would be references from 30 years ago that for a hardcore reader they would understand and just like get, which is just really what built it. Like, it felt like a connected universe. I'll put up like a picture of like it's. I think it's going off the top of my head because this is unscripted, but it should be like the entire Justice League in one big like widespread panel. Every hero basically. I'm 99% sure it was what was his name again? It wasn't Jeff Loeb, because that's the writer. What was his name again? I forgot what his name was, but like he's one of my favorite artists. He drew it, and it's just like when you saw it, you'd be like, yeah, this is the DC universe. All these heroes, all these people that it just felt like a connected and shared universe. Whereas now it's like, what the fuck is going on with Batman? I stopped reading like a month or two ago, and all of a sudden, Thomas Wayne might have cheated on his mom. The Court of Owls are back. What's going on with Batman? Like it feels so disconnected from everything else. And with Superman, it's like it really is funny how like they really are like two different like books. It just doesn't even feel like the same universe because you have Batman being this like ultra like sad, ultra dark, ultra broody book, and then you have Superman being like this like ultra hopeful book. It's very it's an interesting contrast. But there's not like any continuity. Like you have the Red Hood. Like he's regressed so many fucking times. Like for once, I guess he moved on from the Joker, and then he was like, okay, you know what? I forgive you. I'm about what happened to the Joker. He gets rubber bullets. He stops killing, and then he goes back to killing, and then he stops killing again, and now he's back to killing, and then he stops, and now I think he's back for sure. It's like these characters, like now, like they progress and they regress. Like writers are scared of developing these characters further. Like I know it's a comic and it will never end. It's not like a manga where there's a beginning, a middle, and end. Like comics will never end. Like Batman's been going on for 80 years. He's been fighting crime for 80 years. He will never not stop fighting crime. He will never make sure Gotham is 100% safe. It's just not happening. Superman will never like save the world like fully and like retire. Batman will never stop crime in Gotham. Like I get it, but also like you can move these characters on. Like an amazing example would be in 2018, Tom King, who I believe is the worst Batman writer ever, and maybe the worst comic writer ever. Like it fucking sucks. I don't know why they've got him writing Lanterns. He should be far away from anything DC. Hate that guy. Worst writer ever. But literally, he teased this big wedding between Batman and Catwoman, 50 issues long. The proposal, the break. That issue, Batman 50, is in the top 20 most like like bought issues for a single like floppy ever. So it was hyped, and guess what? They didn't get married because these characters aren't allowed to grow. They aren't allowed to progress. They will always forever be like stuck to the status quo. Like Spider-Man, he will forever be this broke, out of his luck loser. Batman will forever be this loner, even though he's really not a loner. Superman, I feel like Superman is the only character that's like actually been allowed to grow. Like he's had children, he's gotten married. He's like I guess the only exception to that rule, which is very surprising actually. But really, like this, like I guess